Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Here's my opening statement. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you for.
Yeah.
First, I was going to welcome you to Louisville and a regional.
Louisville or Louisville?
Well, you have to say it like you have marbles in your mouth. Louisville.
Louisville.
Right. Yeah, you know, right? Yeah. So welcome, and to an NCAA regional that could easily be a Final Four, right? So anyway, welcome, and if you don't mind, just kind of setting the stage for us.
Good afternoon. We're obviously fired up to keep playing. There's only 16 teams practicing today, and we got Caitlin Horde here, who doesn't know much about Louisville, but she's from down the road from Lexington, so she's been enlightening me on bourbon, the styles of bourbon, and all the different kinds of 30-page menus of bourbon. So they must like bourbon here. And Allie can talk to you about the airport, UPS flying over. So anyway, we're fired up. Oregon's a great team, and this is going to be a great challenge for us, which we're excited for.
John, how's the team responded to the early morning practices so far this week?
Great. These guys, we haven't had a bad practice all year, so they doesn't matter when we practice, when we go, they've been great, and I think it's been good. Today it really didn't feel like a morning practice. Yesterday did, because we started them at 8, and so I think they've adjusted really well.
Allie, what are your thoughts on the early morning practices?
I think we're obviously used to practicing in the afternoon, but we've had a bunch of early practices to prepare for this, and like Coach said, we feel well prepared, so it's not that bad.
Caitlin, what's it like when you get to this point in the season when the season could be over tomorrow or it could be over in 2 weeks in a national championship match? What's it like? What does it feel like when you get to this point?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to describe. It's just kind of like a feeling. It's a really good feeling, but I wouldn't have rather done it with anybody else than these girls because it's just so fun here and the vibes are amazing. But we're really playing like every match is a championship match, so we're not taking anything for granted, and we're giving our all and stepping out on the court with each other and playing for each other. The shirt says. So we've got a lot of things to play for, and I think we're really ready.
John, how would you compare Oregon to any other team that you faced this year, and does that help in your guys' preparation?
We've played some teams like Oregon. They try to go really fast. They fly around. They're they've got they try to beat you with speed and tempo is what's happening, and so and they've got really dynamic athletic hitters and a very dynamic athletic setter. So what we have to do is slow that down, and again, a lot of it will come down to serve and pass. So that's another big part of it. But there's teams in the Big Ten that have played like that. Maryland reminds me of one of them. We played some teams in non-conference that play like they do.
John, overall, what are your thoughts on the other 3 teams in this regional? What this regional is like and the other 3 teams?
Where college volleyball is now, if you get to the Sweet 16, you're playing great teams. I mean, and wouldn't surprise me, any of these regionals could produce a national champion. So it's just very competitive now, and you just can't look at like, oh, I got a great draw here, great draw here. I look at some of these other ones, and I'm like, oh, glad we're not there. Then I look at ours, well, I wish we weren't there. So you could drive yourself crazy with that. The bottom line is you're going to play great teams wherever you are. There's no easy draws anymore. Those days of everybody comparing, they got a really tough regional, they got an easy one. It's too competitive anymore. There's too many good teams.
Going back to last week, what was it like to be off Saturday? Did you guys practice, or did you take a complete day off?
No, we took Saturday off, and then Sunday started our Monday, so we stayed in our routine. The only difference on this regional is, for gifts, you get bourbon and a baseball bat, so that's a first. Louisville slugger, you know, Brent. Yeah.
What type of bourbon? Do you know?
It was
This is an important question.
Woodstock.
Woodford.
Woodford,
Woodford Reserve.
yeah.
Okay. All right. I like bourbon, so.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I got a lot of places. You just head downtown. You can find all the bourbon you want.
Allie, it's been an interesting, emotional, wild last 2-3 weeks for the team, but this is the first time I've talked to you since all of it's happened. So what has that just been like for you and all of the changes and how emotional things have been?
Yeah, I think ever since what happened to Kenzie, she's a huge leader for us, so I think that was just had a really big impact on our team, and it was really hard for us, but because she's someone we really look up to. But I had to step up, and I trained every day in practice, and I've been working really hard, and my teammates have been there to support me, and it's emotional, but we all kind of get through it together, and we kind of lean on each other. So it's been up and down, but our team is we are an emotional team, and I think that's one of our greatest strengths. And yeah, we just kind of lean on each other and keep going at it. So.
And Allie, not just the past couple of weeks, but the whole season has been lineup changes, different people, different setters, different hitters. What's that been like as a team, and what has that built in the team to deal with all of that?
I think our team does a great job of adjusting and adapting to what's going on and what we need to do that's best for the team. I think we've done a great job of just handling it with resilience and just working as hard as we can in every aspect, no matter where you are on the court. I think it's allowed us to kind of develop that resilience and just be able to push through, and it kind of helps us when we're competing in matches when things aren't always going our way. It's not perfect. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, so I think it just helps us when we're able to adapt. So.
Kaylin, when you came to Nebraska, you talked about rediscovering your love for the sport of volleyball, and just your first answer you gave, it sounds like you have done that. What kind of helped you rediscover that and kind of put you in the place you are today?
Just being surrounded by people that you know are here for you as a person as well as a volleyball player, and seeing how genuine everyone is, and there's just a lot of deep care within this team, so it flows in you pretty quickly.
Allie, how have you seen yourself grow these last few weeks, taking on a bigger role, especially on the court, serving, and playing in the back row?
I think, obviously, I've had to step up and kind of take over Kenzie's role, so I think it's kind of forced me to bring out a different side of myself. I think I've just really tried to be more vocal and communicate really well and just kind of be that source of energy and just kind of overpower anything that could be holding me back with energy and just kind of be the best version of myself for the team. Yeah, I think.
John, is the bigger question mark to you if you can pass well enough to beat top 10 teams, or if you can serve well enough to beat top 10 teams and win a regional?
Both. It's always the biggest question. So, I mean, we served the crap out of it today in practice. Now we got to do it tomorrow in the match. That's what happens, and there's days I feel sorry for our passers because we serve so tough. And but now you got to do it under the lights when they're keeping score, and that's when you get to this point of the year. A lot of it comes down to that.
With the Oregon setter, did you know of her before you started studying them, or
Yeah.
how did she?
I think she's a transfer from
Yeah.
Washington State.
Like, how quickly did she jump out to you when you started studying them?
Pretty quick. She's does a really nice job with the system they're running, and she's very consistent with her sets. That's the thing that stood out to me, is she's very consistent. Sometimes when you run a faster pace offense, setters can miss a lot, and she's very, very consistent.
John, are there any benefits for the adversity your team's dealt with all of the different lineup changes and kind of piecemealing it at times together, and who's going to be on the court for you?
Well, I mean, you remember in the very beginning, I said that everybody on our team was capable of playing, and everybody's played this year in some pretty big matches, and so it goes back to we're a great team, and these guys echo that when they talk about how special a group it is, and they play with each other, for each other, and there's a lot of trust, and so it's made it easy for us to make those adjustments and changes, and we haven't missed a beat doing it. I mean, because that's a lot of changes we've made.
Caitlin, Oregon's got some high flyers down, outside hitters. How does your blocking approach change against those type of hitters compared to the ones that maybe just a little taller and don't jump as high?
I don't want to give away my secrets just in case they're listening, but you just have to be really disciplined because they are extremely athletic, and so they're not as big as we're used to. So that calls for just a more disciplined block and really trusting your training, as we've mentioned before. So that's all I'm going to say.
Caitlin, what's it like for you to block next to Whitney and Lindsay, and how important is it for you guys to put up a big block against those outside hitters, especially when they set them 60% of the time?
Yeah, it's extremely important, and I love blocking next to Whit and Linz and everybody, honestly. Everybody's just, again, extremely athletic on our team, so it's a lot of fun because we take up a lot of space and we're well in sync with each other, so we put up a really good block. But it's extremely important because I think the block really sets up our defense, and it really allows them to kind of get in the right places, so when the block is set, our defense is that much more better.
Caitlin, John touched on it in his opening statement, but you are playing close-ish to home. What is this experience like, getting as close-ish, I guess, to playing in front of your home friends, family, and how many people can be here for you?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, because we're playing on a Thursday, a lot of my family can't get off work, so they'll be there on Friday, though, which is good. But it's amazing playing near home just because I do have that opportunity of more family and friends getting to come see me, because being so far away in Nebraska, it's a little bit harder to make it to those trips, so I'm extremely thankful to be here.
Anything else? Time for one more.
John, you're a defensive football coach. Have you talked to Trev about getting any of your volleyball players any black shirts?
No. We don't need all that stuff. We already know we can play D, and take a lot of pride in it. So, but no, we have not had that conversation.
You're going to? He's handing them out now to other sports.
Not today.
So.
Not today. So as that I know of. But I thought you guys would ask about horses. We're in horse country here. There's some beautiful horse ranches. Take a drive. We did when we played in Lexington. We drove through a bunch of these beautiful, beautiful horse ranches. It's unbelievable. So anyway, the reason I bring that up is I hear Matt Rule's looking for horses. So his daughter rides, I guess. So that's going to be my job when our season's over, is get her squared away.
Very good. All right. Thanks for your time today. Good luck.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you.